Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. In February, Pretty Pink Posh turned 8 years old, and to celebrate, I'm going to be making this Slimline Scene birthday card. I'm going to be using some new products from their February 2022 release, and to start off, I'll be using the Balloon Alphabet stamp set. This is a very large stamp set that has all of the individual balloon letters, and there are also some strings to the balloons as well as other balloons such as a standard balloon shape, star, and heart balloon. And there is also a coordinating die set available as well. I will also be using the balloon number stamp set, so it has the numbers 0 through 9, as well as a string for the balloons. And there's also a coordinating die set which I do not have to show you, but all of the product links will be in the description box below. I will also be using the Birthday Borders stamp set. Now this stamp set was previously released at Pretty Pink Posh, but what is new are the coordinating dies. But let's take a look at this stamp set. There are 3 borders. The top one is a border of different style presents. Then you have one that has some birthday balloons and birthday cake, party hat, and candles. And then the bottom one is a strip of candles. And here's a look at the matching dies. I'm also going to be bringing in this adorable Crafty Critters stamp set. This stamp set currently is not released at Pretty Pink Posh, but they were giving it away as a promotion if you spend a certain amount of money last month in February. So I'm hopeful that some of you got a chance to pick up this stamp set. But if not, you can always substitute the critters on the card that I make today with other stamps that you might have in your stash. So I'm going to start out by stamping out my letters. This is going to be a birthday card, and because it's a slimline card, I don't have that much room to spell out happy birthday. So I'm just going to abbreviate, and I'm just going to use the letters H, B, D. And I'm also going to use the number 8 because Pretty Pink Posh is turning 8. So I'm going to go ahead and color this up with my Copic markers. The paper that I'm using is the Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth Cardstock. That is what I use when I color with alcohol markers because I always get a good blend with that paper. And the ink that I used is the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So I'm going to go ahead and color this up with my Copic markers. I will have a list of all of these colors that I use in my blog post, so be sure to check that out if you are interested in duplicating any of these colors. The color scheme that I'm going with is going to be pink, teal, as well as orange. So you're going to see me color in some pinks, some teals. I actually did the H in a little bit of a darker pink, and then I'm going to do the D in a little bit of a lighter pink. So I have a couple shades of pink there. And then when I color up the Birthday Borders stamp and color up all of those presents in that stamp set, I'm going to be using all of these same colors. I will also a little bit later on stamp out the critters from that Crafty Critters set. You'll see that here shortly. I am going to be incorporating the mouse and the koala from that stamp set, and those will be colored pink and gray. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to music, and if you'd like to watch the coloring, please do so, and I will be back shortly with an explanation for the rest of my card. For the background of my card, I wanted to do a cloud inked background. So I decided to die cut the Pretty Pink Posh Nature Essential dies because I know there is a cloud background in that. And I'm also going to be incorporating a grass die cut at the bottom of the card, and I knew that die also had a grass border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cloud die cut piece as a stencil to make my background, and then I'll use the grass die cut pieces and put them at the bottom of the card for my grass. So to make my cloud background, I'm starting out with a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock that I cut down to 3 3/8 inches by 8 3/8 inches. And I'm using my tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just inking up a cloud background. So I start at the top of the cardstock and I lay down that cloud border, which is acting as my stencil, and I'm inking up with my tumbled glass ink across the cardstock. Once that cardstock has the ink on it, I move my border down and slightly to the left or to the right, and I will ink up the next line. And I'll continue in that process until the entire cardstock layer is inked up. Now I did decide to put a piece of paper underneath that cloud border just because the cloud border is so thin. I didn't want to accidentally get any ink below that border. I actually put one of the Pretty Pink Posh's packaging inserts underneath that. And you can just use any scrap paper if you're using this method. So I'll go ahead and finish up this process all the way down to the bottom of the cardstock. And here is my cloud background. So now I'm going to take those grass borders that die cut out with the Nature Essential dies, and I'm going to just ink them up with some Mode Lawn ink. I'm just adding some green ink to them because this represents my grass, and that I'm going to include on my card front. So now I'm ready to assemble my card. I have my birthday borders stamp. I'm actually going to cut it in half because I only need presents that will fit the width of this slimline card. I'm going to have one of the grass borders above the presents, and I'm also going to have one of the grass borders below the presents because I wanted to make it look like the presents are sitting in the grass. So I'm going to go ahead and add the glue there, as you saw me do just a moment ago, to the bottom of the larger grass border, and I'm attaching the presents. I wanted to put it as far up as I could because I wanted as much grass showing behind the presents as possible. And then I'm going to add the second grass border on top of the presents at the bottom. So that way it looks like it's sitting in the grass. So that border will go at the bottom of my slimline card panel, but as I start to put it on there, I notice that there is going to be a little bit of that slimline card panel that is showing through the left and right side of that border. So what I need to do to fix it so that I have green all the way through is I need to add some green ink to the bottom of this slimline panel. So I'm just using a piece of the Pretty Pink Posh packaging just to have a straight edge here, and just adding some of the Mode Lawn ink to the bottom of that panel, and I'm just checking to see if I have enough coverage. Again, any scrap piece of paper would work here. So once I have that green ink at the bottom of that panel, I'll go ahead and add my border to the bottom of this card panel. So I'm just going to turn this over, add glue, add this to my card panel, and then I'll be able to snip off the excess on the left and right side. Next, I'm going to position all of my stamped images exactly where I want them. I always like to lay them out on my card front before I start applying glue. That way, if anything needs to be moved over slightly, I still have time to do that before adding glue. So I have the happy birthday balloons floating at the top of my card, and I have the little koala holding on to the D. And then I also have the mouse standing on the presents at the bottom of the card holding the number 8. I wanted to add some depth to this card, so I'm actually using the die from the Build a Cupcake die set. This die is actually the die for the frosting of the cupcake, which you see here in the matching stamp set, but it looks like a cloud. So I decided just to use that die and die cut some white cardstock and use that as a cloud on my card. So I die cut 2 of them out of white cardstock, and I'm just inking up the edges with some of the tumbled glass distress oxide ink. Again, that's the same color that I used for the cloud background on the card. I'm going to take one of those clouds and cut it in half, and I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive foam to the back, and I will be adding those to the edges of the card to make it look like there are more clouds in the sky. And by adding the double-sided foam to the back and then adding those clouds to the card, it gives the card some more depth. So you can see how it's slightly raised on the card. So I'm going to do another one here. This one I'm going to put in the top right hand corner. I'm going to do the same thing to this cloud here. I'm going to go ahead and cut part of it off, but this time I'm going to not only add the foam, but I'm going to put this cloud in a position so that it looks like that balloon is actually going up behind the cloud. Next, I'm going to add that card layer to a Slimline card base that I cut out of some hot pink cardstock. My Slimline card base measures 3.5 by 8.5 inches. And to create a Slimline card base, just take a piece of pink cardstock, cut it so that it measures 8.5 inches by 7 inches, and then score it at 3.5 inches along the 7-inch side. I did add some of the flamingo pearls to the front to add some more color, and that will complete my card. So if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Remember that all product links will be down in the description box below. And be sure to subscribe for more card making tutorials. Thanks for watching and have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.